everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I will be discussing my February wrap-up, and I have two big announcements that I'm really excited to share with everyone. So in February, I read 15 books. One of them I won't talk about because it was under the S&P boycott. But the other ones, 2 of them were physical books, 13 of them was on my Kindle. My average rating was a 4.08, which is like lower than last month's. I did kind of rate a lot of books lower than I anticipated. It was overall a really great month. I did have like 3 to 4 5-stars back to back, which had me on a high. And I can't wait to discuss these all with you. So I'm going to just go ahead and give you my big announcements because I cannot hold in my excitement any longer. The first announcement is that my Pride Readathon is for sure happening. You're going to get a much more official video about this in April. I'll go through all the steps, but I have completed everything that has to be done for it, and it is a go. So if you are interested in participating in my Pride Readathon, come back to my channel on April 1st, and there will be a video about it. My second announcement, which is actually much bigger, is that I'm going to start streaming on Twitch. I am planning for my first Twitch stream to be on March 24th. That first week, I am going to be streaming more than usual. I'm going to be doing 3 streams. Usually I'll do 2. On March 24th, I'm going to be holding like sprints. You can read, you can work, you can, whatever you want to do. Just I wanted to have a really nice, easy first stream. But then my second stream, I'm going to be doing sprints again. But on Saturday, I'm going to be doing a Sims 4 playthrough on stream, creating and everything else. So if you're interested in doing sprints of any kind or watching me play Sims or any other cozy games, you can find me on Twitch underneath the same username as this. I also have it linked in my YouTube profile. I feel like this is the year that I could really connect with communities, and I'm so excited. So now on to the actual purpose of the video, which is the books. I read 2 physical books, which they were both 5-star reads. I don't know how I managed this, but they were phenomenal. I had a really hard time picking my favorite book of the month, but I did decide to go with The Moon Soon Rising as my favorite book. I'm going to get into this in just a second, but y'all, this book was phenomenal. And then the other book that I read was The Theft of Sunlight, which I did a whole video about this book, so I'll keep it pretty light in this video so that you're not hearing things over and over again. But yes, back to this masterpiece. This is the second book in the Hurricane Wars. This is, like I said in one of my other videos, this is a Star Wars fanfic turned into a novel. It has a lot of the light and dark elements. This was the second book. I was on the floor. I don't even know how to say what I want to say without getting in trouble with YouTube. I don't have appropriate commentary on how this made me feel. Do you know, God, I'm gonna reference a meme and you guys probably don't know it. But there is a meme of someone that's fanning themselves as they're fainting. That is my reaction to this book. The first book was a lot of a slow burn, the characters don't really kiss, but it's true enemies to lovers, they're trying to kill each other, and there's a whole fight and then they kiss. There was a lot of tension in that book, but this book, you take all the greatness of the first book and added in actual smut. I was a goner, y'all. Yeah, the main character was phenomenal. The plot of the book is that there is a, I don't know what to really call them. Okay. Yes, they're empress. I was like, are they princes or empresses? So is these 2 people that are key to saving this world. One of them has light powers, the other person has dark powers, and one of them is the emperor, soon to be emperor, and they have a political alliance marriage where they're gonna be married, and when it comes time, they're going to use their powers jointly to keep this event from happening. And by event I mean it's some kind of freaked, it's literally a monsoon pretty much, and it happens only so many times in a year, I can't remember exactly, 100 or 1,000, something like that, and only they can save it, save the world. If they fail to do this, then their entire species is going to be wiped out. There will be nothing left on the planet pretty much. So that's what I was saying, in the first book, it was, the first book was a lot of setup of, getting to know the characters and getting, to know, how this alliance is gonna work out. But this book was seeing them, fall in love. Let's end on a cliffhanger. But oh my goodness, like if I could force someone to read any book that I like, it would be this one. I mean, obviously Shatter Me, but like for an adult fantasy, like if I had to pick an adult fantasy series to have somebody read, it would be this one. And I know a lot of people don't like Star Wars, but even if you don't like Star Wars, I think you might actually like this. Unless you don't like smut. Like some of my friends, don't read this then. It doesn't have a bunch of smut. It's just, and it's not very descriptive. It was just, it felt like a lot because when you go from the first book of there being like none to there being actual some in this book, I do feel like it felt like a lot. So if you're somebody that likes fantasy and not romantasy, then I wouldn't say this is for you. But if you're someone that likes romantasy, I feel like this book does it so well. This one, you guys got a whole spill about this, so I'm not going to dive into what it's about. I'll just reiterate some of my feelings now that I've had quite some time to think about it. This book was truly so good, and I did read the third one by the author, and it was not as good. I think I gave it like a 4.75. I guess I'll just go ahead and get into that review as well. But like, I was on a high after reading this book, and when I jumped into the next one, it just did not feel like the same. It just did not feel like it had the same level of like tension and like slow burn that I was wanting following the second book. And like, you don't really even like they never even actually kiss in the book. Like, they're together. Like, I'm not gonna give away too much, but like there is a romance plot, like, and they like, you know, they have their happy ending, but we never one time see them kiss in the book, and I don't know why that bothers me so much, but it does. Because I don't know why, because in real life I hate kissing, but in books I want to see them kiss. Like, in books I love them kissing, I do. And when I didn't even get to see the romance like actually even kiss, I was just like left a little disappointed. But like, overall, this series was so good, and I the third book, even though it wasn't a 5-star, I do feel like it had a lot of elements that the second one did. Like, it had like the tension, and the main character was very resilient. She was very like courageous. She did not take no for an answer. She really stood up for what she believed in. She was not afraid of a fight. Like, by the time I finished it, I really loved Ray, and I feel like Ray might actually be one of my favorite female characters that I've ever read. She was just so inspiring. I feel like sometimes when you read books with strong female characters, they're like strong right off the bat, and it doesn't feel realistic because like no one is strong off the bat. Like, you have to do some kind of training. Like, no one is like invincible, and you get to actually follow Ray as she gets stronger and stronger. Like, you get to follow her like learning how to fight. You get to follow her learning how to like navigate political courts, and I feel like you get to see like the progression of her being like, oh, this like stubborn woman to someone that's actually like a fighter, someone that actually stands an advocate. But like, the first book is okay, the second book amazing, third book is like a little bit lower than the second book, but I still think very enjoyable. With that being said, I don't think that I'm going to read anything else by this author. I don't know if they really have anything else out. I'm just not the biggest fan of how this author chooses to write their books, like, in the long run, because I feel like this book definitely could have been done further. Like, there could have been more books in this series, and the author just stops it. And I know, like, sometimes I always complain, like, oh, sometimes authors don't know when to stop. But I feel like this is one of those cases where I wish the author would have continued. I feel like this story has so much more potential, and the author has come out and said that they don't plan on ever writing anything else for this series. Like, they don't ever, like, no short stories, no novellas, just nothing. Like, this series is completely done to them. And I'm a little disappointed because I feel like, to me, like, reading it from a reader point of view, I feel like I see so many other characters that could have gotten stories, whether that been like full-size novels or like even just like short stories. And I just feel like the author is almost like not taking advantage of like points that are there, and I'm really worried that might be how their other series are. So I don't think I'm gonna pick up anything else by them. So those are the two books that I read physically. I'm sorry if you just saw me yeet the book. You're on a couch, so I promise I did not just yeet my book into thin air. It was yeeted onto the couch. It's perfectly safe. So the books that I read for the ebooks, I did read for a readathon, and both of those books in my physical books, they were a part of those. But the rest of the books I read, they were like the ebook versions of my reads for Jonte Infernos, and I did finish that readathon completely through. But I do have to admit that I read them out of order because I didn't really realize that you had to do circle by circle. I was just thinking that you read the books, and as long as you finished all 9 books, you were good. And that is not how I did it. I think I started off with like circle 7, and I just went back and forth. So I was joking with a friend. I was like, we were just circles, like teleporters. Like we were just so powerful and so talented that like we were just jumping from circle to circle of hell, and we could not be contained. But we found our way out. I mean, I finished the series, so like I'm out of hell. It's no problem. I managed to screw up a pretty simplistic readathon, but that's just the. I don't even think I can blame it on autism or ADHD. I think that's just me. So I'm going to be talking about the books that I specifically read for Dante's Inferno. But Circle 1 was to portray your physical TBR. So read like an ebook, an audiobook. So I read First Time Caller by B.K. Borison. This was like one of my highly anticipated reads of the year. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 5 stars. I'm not surprised by that at all because I'm, like I've mentioned, I'm a really big fan of B.K. Borison. I feel like they write romances so freaking well. But First Time Caller is about this radio host, Aiden Valentine, speaking of, and he, his podcast, sorry, not podcast, his radio show is about helping people find love, giving advice about love. But the issue is he has started to believe that love doesn't exist because he's had so much pain in his life, so much hurt in his life that he's like, oh, I'm a radio host that talks about love, but I don't actually believe in love anymore. So that's the male character in the book. But the female character is this woman who is a single mom. She's like not really been dating. She was with her high school sweetheart, but then he ended up being gay, so they like divorced. Like they're still in good terms. Like they like live right beside each other. Like they co-parent very well. Like she just like hasn't really been dating again because she's been taking so much time with her daughter. And one night her daughter calls into the radio host and tries to get advice for her mom. And obviously this is being broadcasted all over their town, so like everyone's like, oh my goodness, like who is this woman that is like needs to find love? And they decide that they're going to bring this woman on the radio host show, and they're going to use the radio host show. I don't know why I'm calling it a radio host show. It's just a radio show. I'm so sorry. They've decided that they are going to use this radio show to help her find love. So everybody can call in and like ask her on dates, or they can ask her like what she's interested in. And it's just a really cute, sometimes cringy romance. I will say it has like one smut scene in it, so like if you don't like smut, I feel like you might be able to still read this. Like I feel like it's very easy to skip. I don't usually like books with like kids in them, but the daughter is just like a really cute kid that clearly cares for her mom and wants her to be in love. Circles 2 and 3 was to read a book with a dark cover and a book with violence. I already talked about it. That was from Moon Soon Rising. Those fit the plots very well. Circle 4 was to read a popular book, and I had picked Scythe and Sparrow. I did not really love this book, and I've kind of been on like a downhill love of this author. Like I absolutely loved Buzzard and Blackbird. I gave it 5 stars. It was amazing. The second book, Leather and Lark, I gave, I think, like 4 stars. Like, and then this book, I gave 3.5. Like, it has been, like, a steady decline of my interest for these books. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because I don't think anything could top, like, the original characters. Like, I just have so much love for the original characters that maybe the other ones aren't topping them. But I did have some issues with this book. I almost DNF'd it, but I was doing a buddy with a friend, so I wanted to, like, give it an actual chance. So my issue with this book is that we learn very early on that the main female character is like kind of revenge killing people. Like she's killing them because they're abusing their wives, or like they're beating their wives, or like they're not being good to their wives. So these wives come to her asking for help, and then she goes and kills them or like poisons them or something. So like in my head, this character like does not like men. She is hesitant around men, she's cautious around men, she just has a strong dislike in men. That's not really sad, but that's like how I was interpreting this character to be, because of like the fact that like she is pretty much being like, she kills men. Like she doesn't kill any other, like she doesn't kill women, she kills specifically men. So in my head, that means she's a man killer. Like she's a man killer, she's a man hater. Well, there is a part of the book where she gets hurt, and the doctor is like, "Oh, just come live with me. I'll take care of you." And she says yes, and they move in together without even knowing each other for like one day. It was like one day of knowing each other, they were moved in. And I feel like that makes no sense at all for like the image of her that I had in my head. I was like, you're telling me this person literally kills men, but she just decided to trust a man she did not know and move in with him. And obviously they end up falling in love. I mean, that's not really a spoiler. Like, I mean, the book is literally about these two characters. But it just makes no sense to me at all that I'm supposed to believe this woman hates men and is like, it's just like she thinks that, like, I don't know, it's not necessarily that she hates all men, but maybe it's my fault. Maybe I'm the problem. I just have this image of her, and her going home and living with this doctor does not fit in that image, and it like really, really made me angry. Like, I was texting my friend being like, this makes no sense at all. My other issue is that she gets away with these murders very easily. Like, it was definitely like plot convenience. Like, she wasn't even doing anything really to cover her freaking tracks. Like, she was just like pop, 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 and then like never really got caught. And I'm just like, there should always be some kind of consequences for murder. Like, whether it be like, oh, she gets found out and she gets out of it, like, that's totally fine. But she really didn't even get found out. Like, it, by like the law enforcement. Like, it, I just feel like this book just has some flaws that I really could not move past. But the ending of the book really redeemed it for me. I know people, when it comes to epilogues, people are like, they skip them, or like, I am one of those people where I do read epilogues, but it does bother me when an epilogue is like 1 month later, they got married, or 1 year later, they're pregnant. I don't like epilogues like that. I want epilogues that actually like add to the characters. So like, you can do a time jump, but like show the characters like doing something other than being pregnant or married. Like, I just don't like that in books. And these epilogues actually did that. Like, they gave us insight into other characters. They gave us insight to like what life was like following that book. Like, I thought the epilogues were great. Like, one of the best examples of epilogues I can think of. Also, like, the romance gestures at the end were just, I thought they were great. So I'm giving this, like I said, a 3.5, 3.75. I don't think, so the way that the book ends, I do feel like it sets it up for the author to write another series. I am not very confident that I'll be reading that series. But right now, I just don't feel like I will enjoy the books that she writes. I feel like, I don't know if I'm growing out of them, or like if these flaws or things that other people have issues of. I just know like some people love these books. And I love the first one. But man, this last one, it just... And, I mean, there was smut. I thought the smut was great. Yeah, I guess I really have an issue with the main female character in this book. Not that I dislike her, I just don't think it makes sense. Her actions don't match the personality that I thought she had, is what I would say. Circles 5 and 6, I already talked about, it was The Theft of Sunlight. Circles 7 and 8 was a 5-star prediction and a book with food or drinks on the cover. And I had picked The Princess and the Grilled Cheese, or whatever the heck it was called. I did not give it 5 stars. I thought I was going to. I thought it was going to be really cute. And it was cute, don't get me wrong. I just feel like I wanted a little more. I feel like that's one of those circumstances where I wish that I would have been like, this is one of the circumstances where I wish it would have been a full-size book, because it was just so cute. I actually was like, I wasn't even aware that it was gay. It's gay. What it's about is that this woman, her dad is dying / dead, and she wants to, have freedom, and she wants to take over his, I don't know if I would say empire, like, she just wants to take over, like, she wants to get his land, get the house and stuff. And in the plot of this book, like, she's not able to because she's not a boy. So she decides to start pretending like she's a boy. Like, she undergoes like she starts dressing like a man. She starts going by a new name. Like, she starts changing her voice and stuff, and she starts going by as a man. Well, one day she runs into this princess, and she instantly falls in love with her. And this princess is obsessed with grilled cheese sandwiches, and the princess loves balls. So she asks who she thinks is a man to come to her balls, and then they become friends, and they end up falling in love. And the princess is like, oh no, I can't be with him because he's below me. And then she finds out that she's a girl, and she's like, now I really can't be with them because she's below me and she's a girl. What will my kingdom think? And there's like this whole plot about like, oh, like screw what people think, like be with who you love. And I do really love that. I feel like in this society of what's going on, we do need books like that. That's like, do what makes you happy, love who you want to love. That's one of those books, and it was really cute. I don't even know why I didn't give it 5 stars. Maybe just because I wish it was longer. But the artwork was cute. I also love grilled cheeses. And then the last book was just read any other book. Like, there wasn't a prompt for it. So I picked Cursebound. I gave this 5 stars. And this really wowed me. This is the second book in a series. The first book is called Feybound. And I went back and like read my review because I remember when I read this book, I had some critiques about like the genre that it was under. And I was really mad when I read the first book that this was listed as a romantasy, because the first book really had no romance in it. Like, we were told, like, in the first book, it's supposed to be like this land of like sex and hotness, and they're like feisty, and they're all about like owning who you are and sleeping with who you want to sleep with, and they don't like do monogamy really. They just like, you know, screw who they want to screw, and then there was like no romance. And I was like, how the heck is this a romantasy? And how the heck are we told that this world is a bunch of hot people having sex, and then we don't even really get like a sex scene? So that was my critique of the first book. But oh baby, this second book, it had sex. So this second book is a romantasy. So that fixed the issue that I had with the first book. So the second book I loved. We got like multiple POVs of like different people having sex. Like, it wasn't just like one character, which I really enjoyed. I always like when there's like multiple point of views and we get to see like the romance unfold between all of them. I thought that like it had some twists and turns that I really didn't see coming. So this book is about how there are these gods and goddesses that they use, like, pronouns can be like he, they, Shay. I have a friend named Shay, but that's not a pronoun. The pronouns are like whatever they wanted to do. Like, they're very open to their gender and sexuality and identity. So it's like one of the gods uses like he, they, or they, them, or like newer pronouns. So I really enjoyed that in this book. But anyways, so one of the gods created humans, one of the gods created Fae, and one of the gods created what are they called? Why am I blanking? I don't know why I'm blanking, but there's a third one. And this book is about like finding out why there's no humans. Like, there's no humans left alive. And apparently they were cursed, and it's just a lot of like politics almost, which you guys know at this point that I love political books. I love political books. So you guys should have already known. Just from the moment I said political, you should know right away that this was a hit for me. But yeah, so it's just like they have like this magic that's weaved into these instruments that they play, like drums, and these drums are how they like use their magic. And there are these like king and queen situation where they're like tied to this tree of life. And it's a lot of like trying to like solve like multiple different mysteries of like what happened to humans, and there's like why are these people where they are, and it's just, I can't give away too much, but it's just, I feel like you'd really like this book if you, one, like political books, two, if you like books that have like a lot of different mysteries in them. But you don't really get a lot of answers in this book, and it also ends on a cliffhanger. I don't know why I read multiple books that end with a cliffhanger, but I hate it. I truly hate it. So those are the books that I read for the readathon. We read 6 books outside of the readathon. 3 of the books had to do with Theft of Sunlight. I read the 2 short stories that come before it, and then I read the 3rd book, which I already discussed that. And then the other book that I read outside the readathon was Beasts of War. This is like the last book in a series, and I really didn't love the ending of it. I felt almost like disappointed. I was like, I just expected more. And I can't really explain this series very well because it's just difficult. It's a difficult series to understand. I feel like that was one of the things that I had a problem with very early on, is that I had no idea what was going on. And then I finally figured out what was going on, but then I have a hard time saying what was going on. And then the third book ends, and I'm just like, what was the point of any of this? So I think I gave it like a 3.75. And then I read Whispers in Waterfalls, which is a short story to a book that I read last year. It's just literally just a smut novella. So I don't really rate those because like it's just so short. It was like 40 pages and they were just having sex underneath a waterfall. I don't really feel like I can critique that. and then I read the book that I can't talk about because it was under an SMP boycott. And then I read Rest Stop for the Tiny Terrors book club that I'm a part of, and I really didn't love this one. I gave it a 3.75 after our discussion. Originally it was a 3 stars. This is a book about a man who is going to see his aunt, grandma. I can't even remember. That's a bad sign. But he's going to see his aunt / grandma / relative. Couldn't tell you. Can't even tell you the name anymore. She's dying. Or she's in a... I can't even remember. Oh my god. Coma, dying, dementia. I have no idea. It's like I didn't like the book, so my brain is already like... We're racing with the memories of the book. But on his way to go see her, he decides to stop at this rest stop because he has to pee. And when he gets there, he realizes like nobody else is there. Like there's cars, but he's not seeing anyone else inside. And he's like, well, that's weird. And instead of turning around like I think anybody else would, he's like, well, I might as well go pee since I'm here. And then when he goes to pee, he realizes that he's stuck in the bathroom. Like it's locked from the outside, and then it gets really freaking weird from there. I can't even, like, there's a killer, there's bugs, there's spiders, there's snakes, and there's googly eyes. That's the freaking worst part, is the googly eyes. I hate googly eyes. They creep me out. And there was googly eyes everywhere. There was googly eyes in the damn slushy machine. I'm not even gonna be able to look at slushy machines the same ever again. So my issue with this book is 1, I hate spiders. 2, I hate snakes. 3, I hate googly eyes. And 4, I did not like the ending. I didn't like the ending because I didn't understand the ending. Once we talked about it in our book club and I realized what it was meant to represent, I was like, okay, I guess that makes more sense. But I still don't feel like I can rate it high enough because of those other 3 things that I said. And is that a personal problem? Absolutely. Do I need therapy over my fear of googly eyes? Probably. Is the last book that I read was Things We Left Behind, which is the second book in the Knock 'Em Out series, which is a romance book by Lucy Score. Y'all, we have been over this. Why are romance books 600 pages long? How many pages do you need to have someone meet, fall in love, have sex, happy ever after? How many pages do you need for that? A lot, apparently, because this book is 598 pages, and I read it. I don't know why. Because of, like, Valentine's Day romance. And I'm going to finish it because there's only 1 book left in the series, but I do not think I'm going to read anything else by this author because I cannot freaking stand that she has to have so many pages to do, like, and there's nothing special about these romances. Like, they're just cowboy romances with, like, a little bit of, like, a mystery thing and, like, an evil stepsister. Like, it's interesting, but, like, girly pop, take out, like, 300 pages or something, I'm begging you. The smut is okay. I think I like this one more than the first one. Because, I don't know, but this book, the main character is a cop, and I don't really love cops. I'm not going to really dive into that. So y'all, I had some misses. Is this the third time I've mentioned that I'm not going to read any more from an author? I think it is. I think that shows you the kind of month that I've had, is that alone. Is that I'm like, I'm not going to read anything else by these authors. I'm not going to read anything else by these authors. Like, it was a month. I was like, 5 stars, so many 5 stars, and then the other books were just like, we're going to ruin your life. It's about how it feels. For March, I already put out my TBR video. If you have not seen it, go find it. I'm going to have it linked. It is my Noah Kahn songs, picks my TBR. It was so much fun. I've already started reading some of them, and you're going to get to hear about all of those in my March wrap-up video. But like I said earlier in this video, I am going to be doing streaming on Twitch on March 24th. If you're interested, come find me on Twitch under Mooing with May. It's going to be so much fun. We're going to play The Sims. We're going to play some cozy games. We're going to do reading sprints. We're going to do lots of fun things. And beep beep. I'll see you guys next time. Oh, where's my cow? I hope you have a moo-tastic week. We should name this cow. You know, I've had this cow for a really long time and I have not named it. We should think of a name. Maybe I'll do that one day. I'll have a poll of name my cow. Anyways, this is the end of the video. Thank you for supporting my channel. Thank you for watching this long, and I hope you enjoyed. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye. Bye.